So what I like to do is bring up my expert, my gold and silver expert. This is a silver coin. Today it's about $15 for this. So when people says it takes a lot of money to start investing, it doesn't. $15 you can get on this, but the thing was I was buying it for $5 a few years ago. So it's now gone up $10 in purchasing power. So with that, I'd bring up Mike Maloney. Big band for Mike, please. Welcome and thank you.
Thank you.
Michael is every time I want to find out what's happening in gold and silver and the real money market versus the currency market, I call Michael. Right. So why don't you talk about the history of currencies or fiat currencies or government printing money?
Every time the government prints money, it's basically a stealth tax. The government gets to spend that extra unit of currency that they're printing. But when it goes out there, it dilutes the currency pool out there, and there's more units of currency per person.
And this has gone on throughout history, hasn't it?
It's gone on throughout history, but it exploded after 1971.
But please, the Romans did it too.
Yes.
And the reason it took slower was that when the Romans actually passed out real coins, the reason there's grooves on it is the people being smart, they used to file the coin down. So that's why today there's grooves on these coins to prevent people from filing the money. So, and the Romans got pretty smart, so they started printing, fake money.
Yes, they started mixing copper in with their gold and silver, and they debased their money supply. Eventually, they had minted so many coins that their system broke back down to the barter system. They couldn't pay their armies. It was one of the reasons that the Roman Empire collapsed, the reason Rome fell.
And this has gone on throughout history, and now today the world is floating on currency, not money.
Not money.
Anything else you want to say about the history of currencies or advice you have for people?
Well, there's been many, many, many fiat currencies in the past, and there isn't one that has survived. So far, they have a 100% failure rate. And in 1971, the U.S. dollar became a fiat currency. And as the government just keeps on printing more and more and more currency, eventually people seek other assets, such as gold or silver.
Or real estate or oil.
Yes, wheat, iron. There's lots of things that store value. And you will find that if you look at history, that currencies don't store value.
Right. And not that long ago, one of the reasons in 1933 that Adolf Hitler came to power was because the German government shifted from money to currency. And it wiped out the middle class. That's why Donald Trump and I have written our book about why the middle class is in trouble in America. One of the main problems is also lack of financial education, but because we have a fiat currency. So many people think my house appreciated in value or gold has appreciated. That's not really true. What has really happened is the dollar has depreciated, has gone down in value.
Yes.
And the reason the government does that so they can borrow money from foreign countries and pay them back with cheaper dollars. Now it punishes you guys, the working people, if you're a working person, and it rewards the debtor, guys like me who are greatly in debt. So the savers get jammed and the debtors win because we're using fake money to acquire tangible real assets, right?
Exactly.
So in 1933, a man named Adolf Hitler was elected to power simply because the German Weimar government had taken their money and turned it into a currency. And so it got so expensive, the middle class had their savings wiped out. And the same thing has happened to my mom and dad. They couldn't save money simply because inflation, or actually devaluation of the dollar, is such a high rate of speed. So people who are savers are losers, and people like me who are debtors are winning. So it's called, it's inflation, it's going into hyper devaluation of the dollar. Is that correct? Or hyperinflation, they call it?
Yeah. During World War I, Germany went off of the gold standard at the outbreak of World War I. And then they increased their money supply. They printed so much money that the money supply increased by 4 times. There was 4 times more.
The reason they did that was to pay their bills. So it's like you writing bad checks. It's exactly the same thing.
And then as soon as the war ended, the money supply, the money that people were saving during the war because of the anxiety that they have during this period of unrest, all of that money came out of hiding, and the price of gold is something that shows you what's happening with inflation. The price of gold went from 100 marks an ounce to about 900 marks an ounce. Then later on, the government kept on printing money all through 1920, 21, 22. In 22, gold started rising again, and by mid-23, it just went into a runaway effect, and gold went to over 100 trillion marks an ounce.
And the same thing might happen in America.
It's entirely possible. I think we've got a guy that we call Helicopter Ben at the helm.
Ben Bernanke, he believes in just spreading enough money around. So the savers will just continue to lose as long as we're willing to accept the money. So that's one of the problems of saving money when it's not a money, it's really a currency. There's one more last thing. It's in 1933. Not only did Adolf Hitler get elected, in 1933 they made holding gold illegal in America. In other words, you could be arrested for holding gold. I mean, that's how powerful the government wants to protect their currency. So I wrote this book here called Prophecy about the biggest stock market crash in the history of the world and all this. But as a Dow has just climbed past 12,000, and people are saying, well, the price of my stock is going up. In reality, the Dow is going down when measured against gold.
It's
the same as your price of your house goes up. It's not that your house goes up, the purchasing power of your dollar has gone down.